Here at the MasterCard Center in Etobicoke, where the Maple Leafs have just wrapped up practice. They had Sunday off after what was a fairly grueling back-to-back stretch. A home game Friday night rather, against New Jersey, and then a quick turnaround where they played Boston on Saturday, returning to the scene of the crime where they were beaten in Game 7 of the playoffs last year. Pretty upbeat and long practice today. I'm trying to get in work in advance of Wednesday's game in Minnesota. Randy Carlyle talked today about the difficulty of all the players that are out of the lineup and getting these line combinations set for Wednesday.
We felt that a change was needed after our first period. We had a different groupings together, so what we tried to do was spread a little bit more of our wealth of skill around, and that's what we came up with. It's always a challenge as a coaching staff to put your group together and try to maintain the same people so you can have continuity, and through injuries and sometimes it's lack of success or not the right feel that you're getting from your group that you make changes. But I've always been one that has liked to develop two guys and then have that third part interchangeable, but with the number of challenges that we've had specifically in the first 15 games, it's been very difficult to stay with the same groupings. Well, in the Boston game, it was probably one of the more physical games we've played in all year, on the second half of a back-to-back. And you know, I liked our forecheck after the first period. I liked a lot of things about our group, and again, you know, you always try to not be the bearer of bad news all the time as a coaching staff, and you have to accentuate the positives that are taking place. And that's one of the things that we've talked to our players about is that there's a lot of good things going on out there, but we have some areas that we'd like to improve on, and we feel that the last two games we've gotten somewhere from our preaching. Now, to say that that's going to happen and the next one, well, we have to live it, and that's the thing that you guard against as a coach. You're always trying to make sure that they don't forget the things that have gotten them where they are, and yet the areas that we can improve on are there's always a long list for a coaching staff.
Another issue that seems to be creeping up with this team over time, and Carlyle addressed it today, is the fact that they're not getting a whole lot of production out of the defense. Now, with all the offensive-minded players they have back on that blue line, you would expect that they'd start to get a little bit of that. And they've been working on it in practice, and Carlyle talked about some of the things that need to be done to make that happen. Namely, those shots from the point, they can't be head high like we've seen so many times from Dion Phaneuf. They've got to be low where they can be deflected, tipped in, and maybe lead to a juicy rebound.
I don't think we shoot the puck enough from the point. Personally, I think that we seem to be very cautious. I think that a lot of times defensemen, and we try to preach to our group, is you're not trying to score goals from there all the time. Your job is to get the puck on net, so that with today's goaltenders, most of them have the bigger pads, there's lots of rebounds. Give our forwards a second opportunity to get a rebound and score a goal from in tight. Those are the things that we're continually pleading for, but it's a lot different when you're playing the position, because obviously the opposition has people in the shooting lane, and they're reading the situation differently than maybe we might see it. But I still think there's room for us to get more pucks directed to the net, and look for not to score so many goals, but just to get junk in there, and you'd be surprised how many do sneak their way in.
Some smaller developments today. The lines were basically the same as what we saw for the periods 2 and 3 in Boston. It's been a work in progress almost every day and every practice for Carlyle because of all the injuries. And another thing, we met David Bolland, who of course was severed a tendon near his ankle there in Vancouver 8, 9, 10 days ago. It was his first time that he's met with the media since the injury in Vancouver, and he's trying to remain upbeat, but he's going to be on crutches for at least a month, so we're not going to see David Bolland before Christmas, in my opinion. And he's just trying to stay upbeat and spend some time with the team, but he can do no physical work at all. So again, practice tomorrow again. The team will head to Minnesota, where they will play the Minnesota Wild on Wednesday night. For the Toronto Sun, I'm Rob Longley.